Good morning, everyone. Today I wanted to share with all of you, members of the Bitcoin Moneymaker community, that unfortunately Bitcoin is not going to go any higher than this. Um, Bitcoin is not going to see a new all-time high. It's also not going to go back to $50,000, and is definitely not going to go up to $100,000 at any given point. In fact, it saddens me to say that the only direction right now for Bitcoin it's going to be south, meaning we'll see more corrections. We see the price drop and drop and drop until pretty much the zero level. We can see that here with the graphic, with the chart, where we've had this big correction over here, as you can see. And it's just a pattern of the price dropping and dropping and dropping. So here you have the correction, another correction, all the way to our double top here, followed by a correction, another correction, and another correction. So there's really nothing else to say other than the fact that, in my opinion, it could be that even tomorrow will drop, of course, beyond our $38,000 level, and we can see Bitcoin in the future going all the way down to zero. So now let's get serious. Of course, we did have this drop yesterday in the 4-hour chart in the price, as you can see. And of course, it is a big drop, around $3,000 more or less. And one has to say, however, that we still are inside this uptrend channel over here. And it may be even that we once again go back down to the lower end of this, which is around, the level is around $38,000. But we're still inside that trend line. Also here, as you can see again, we had about a 7.5% correction. That's the correction that we had yesterday. But the reason for this, and that's the only reason for this, especially if we look here on the 15-minute chart and we open up the mini futures, the only reason for this is because of how the mini futures perform. Also, with NASDAQ, the mini NASDAQ. And here you can see, of course, in the blue we have the movement by Bitcoin, and orange we have the movement by the mini futures. You can see we have a correlation in the movement between the two. The mini futures go up, consolidate, Bitcoin does the same. It goes up, Bitcoin does the same. Then here we have a consolidation phase. What does Bitcoin do? Same thing. Then a drop or a correction in the price. Then consolidation again over here, and exactly the same thing. And so what happened yesterday is exactly when the markets opened around 3:30 German time, we had a little bit of a spike, of course, here at the start of the opening, but that's when the whole dilemma started. After that, you can see there's a huge drop in the value, and that's exactly what was triggered after we had this spike here in the price. That's what triggered the price of Bitcoin to follow along, basically, and also basically fall down the same as the mini futures. So that is to say that you always, and that's the only thing that I can tell you, to pay attention, analyze. If you want to know what's going to happen, you're going to have to look at the traditional markets, sorry, and analyze and see what they are doing in order to also more or less have a direction for what Bitcoin will do as well. We see that also down here. We have a sideways phase over here, and Bitcoin does the same thing. So you should definitely look at what happens when the markets open today. Usually the first 30 minutes, there's not a whole lot that happens then. The real movement begins almost an hour later, usually around 4 o'clock, where the real buyers come in or the real sellers come in and start to move the market in whichever direction it's supposed to go that day. So keep that in mind, of course. And yes, we have to be very careful, because at the moment we are giving yet again the bears another chance to push the price lower than the $38,500 level. And this is something that hasn't, if it does, is something that hasn't happened since the 7th of March, I think. But it could be that we actually don't go any lower than this candle here on the 15-minute chart, and we just moved sideways throughout the day. But one thing to obviously be on the lookout for is that we don't go any lower than this previous lows over here, because yes, then we would be giving the bears that chance to push the price even lower. So long as we remain above this low here at $38,000, then things should be fine, and we could just move on by consolidating for a while, for a couple of weeks maybe even, and then continue to move towards the upside. I also believe later today Facebook is going to be announcing their numbers. Next week it's Microsoft and then Google. So do pay attention to that as well, because of course they do hold a very big portion of what the markets would be in the NASDAQ. And if they fall, then of course that will bring the entire market down, and Bitcoin will then follow along as well. Now today we're also going to be looking at the BLX chart on the weekly. And here what's also important to note is that of course this is something that illustrates the movements of Bitcoin in the market since the moment that we started all the way back here in 2012 or 2010. And then you of course have the halvings, you have the bear market, the bull market, bear market, consolidation, and so on, that we've had all throughout the history of Bitcoin. So compared to previous situations, we don't have this big rise in the market where we go and retest our logarithmical curve line at the very top like we've had in previous bull markets that go for around 2 years, and then okay, from here the price is gonna go down and go into a bear market. We don't have that structure here, at least right now. It's not really what's happening. So you can see what we've been doing is we've been using our different levels, different lines here for resistance and for support all throughout. We retest that, we use it as support, we use it as resistance. And right now, we of course could be that over here, we do have this line that happens to be crossing with our blue 100 EMA line. And so it could be that on the bigger time frames, not on the smaller ones, that's where we have the $38,500 support level. But here on the bigger time frames, it could be that the price goes all the way down to here where the weekly 100 EMA line is, which that level is around $37,000. And so that's also a possibility. However, here on the weekly as well, so long as we don't go any lower than this previous lows here, this level at $37,750 more or less, if we don't push any lower than that, then we should still be in this upward or ascending trend, if you will. So that is important to keep in mind, that we don't have a close week closing beyond that level. You can see here the uptrend line over here. So far there hasn't really been, for months already, hasn't been a lower low that we've built. And again, this level here at 37,700 US dollars, that's very, very important. And so long as we don't go any lower than that, then it's fine. If we do go any lower, then we can assume that we might go down to even $33,000. And at that point, I think at the very latest, that's where we can say that the bear market is officially then over, and then we could see hopefully then a bounce from there. Also here on the weekly, you see that we tried to go beyond our EMA lines here at the top. We didn't manage that. And also on the daily, same thing here, the 100 and the 50, even the 20 EMA lines have rejected so far in the last couple of days the price, and we haven't been able, but we still are not going to, we haven't built a new lower low. So that's, again, for now at least, a good sign. Now let's go over to Ethereum, where again we are struggling once again with the $3,000 level. As you can see here, we Bitcoin dragged Ethereum, of course, yesterday, dragged it down. We built a double top over here, and right now we find ourselves below the $3,000 price level. So if today, when the markets open, Bitcoin falls again, then the possibility for Ethereum to go back down to the $2,800 is not very far, or even this lower level here, $2,815. So we have to pay attention to what Bitcoin does, because of course, again, Bitcoin is the one sort of marking the pace at which the altcoins either go up or down. And I mean, we can even have a look here at this graphic with all of the comparisons here. You see we have Ethereum here at the top left, and we have XRP at the top, at the bottom left, and then on the right we have Bitcoin at the top and Luna at the bottom. So you see here, Bitcoin drops in the price just a little by comparison. And then what happens to the rest? Big corrections, big drops in the value of each one of these coins. So, we still have to keep that in mind, especially when investing in the altcoins. And now quickly over here, because we talked about this yesterday regarding the NFTs, this article, very interesting, that the first tweet that was published by Jack Dorsey at the time when they first opened Twitter to the public has lost basically pretty much all of its value. You see here, the tweet was just sitting at my Twitter, and somebody bought that for almost $3 million at the time where the NFT went out for sale. And what's very, very crass about this article is that right now that's worth about 10.3 Ether, which is a worth of $32,000. So, congratulations to the person who spent the $3 million here and now only has $32,000 worth of that investment. I personally, as I've said before, I'm not into this. I don't see really the value for it. But if you are, and if you have already made some profit, my suggestion is not, of course, financial advice, but my only suggestion is that you start taking some of that profit, because you could find yourself losing a lot of the value in the future. So for Bitcoin, of course, again, do keep the 15-minute timeline on the radar. Could be that we either form here a double bottom, that will be the best case scenario, and hopefully then pick up from there. Anyway, that's all for today. Bye bye.